Good evening, everyone. In addition to taxes, the governor also talked about education reform, adding jobs, and helping create more business.
But we begin tonight with taxes, specifically the proposed income tax rate cut the governor talked about. Fox 11's Robert Hornacek is one of our crews in Madison this evening. And Robert, what kind of cuts are we talking about?
Well, good evening, Michelle. I can tell you that Governor Walker says this would be the largest income tax cut in the state in more than a decade. What he wants to see happen is the tax rate lowered for the lower class and the middle class. But opponents say that the cut would be so small that it wouldn't really make much of a difference for families. Tonight we hear from both sides. Governor Scott Walker finally announced the details of his highly anticipated budget proposal, including his detailed plan for a middle-class income tax cut.
You, the hard-working taxpayers of this state, helped to create the budget surplus. So it's only right that we put more money back into your hands.
Walker says right now income taxes in Wisconsin are 26% higher than the national average. He wants to change that.
Our middle-class tax cut is a down payment on my goal of reducing the tax burden in our state every year I'm in office. I want to cut taxes over and over and over again until we're leading the country in economic recovery.
Here's what Walker's plan would do. It would lower the income tax rates for the bottom three tax brackets, basically for everyone making less than $215,000 per year. Those rates would go down 1 or 0.2%. The total tax cut would add up to $343 million. What does it all mean for you? Walker says a family of 4 making about $80,000 a year would save $106 a year, a little more than $2 a week.
When you're talking about even an average cut of $200 over 2 years, what are you talking about, a candy bar a week or something? Or...
Democratic State Senator Dave Hansen says the way the income tax cut is structured, people with higher incomes will see the most benefit.
It's not a whole lot. It seems like a political ploy. He is running in 2014 and makes good press because he can say he's given a tax cut. But people have to realize that it's not going to make a huge difference in their lives. And, you know, maybe that money could be spent better doing something else.
Putting more dollars back into the pockets of middle-class Wisconsinites actually will help drive our economy.
Republican State Rep John Nygren, who sits on the Joint Finance Committee, says the governor's proposal is simply the starting point.
We're going to take a look at ways we might be able to save a little bit more here and there to make that even potentially a bigger tax cut.
Now tonight is the first of many steps in the budget process. From here it will go to the Joint Finance Committee, where it will no doubt undergo some changes. But remember, Republicans do control the state legislature, so you can bet that whatever the final income tax cut proposal looks like, it will probably look very similar to what we saw unveiled by the governor here tonight. Live in Madison, Robert Hornacek, Fox 11 News.
Looking at the governor's total proposal as he presented it tonight, it is basically a $68 billion two-year package. The governor's proposal is for increasing state spending. That would be 3% in the year beginning July 1st, the first year of the budget, and then another 2% in the budget's second year in 2014 and 15. Among the governor's priorities, expanding the state's school voucher program. He wants to provide parents in underperforming districts to be allowed to send their children to private schools at taxpayer expense. Now, those districts are 9 around the state, and they would include Green Bay, Fond du Lac, and Sheboygan. Tonight, the governor singled out Green Bay as a district with schools exceeding and failing to meet state expectations.
Now, while we work to improve underperforming schools, our children can't afford to wait. This is why we provide new choices for parents in areas where schools are failing to meet expectations.
Not only would state spending go up in the budget 2 or 3% each year, the state workforce would also expand under the governor's proposal. There would be a 1% expansion. It would be a net gain of more than 700 workers, creating a state workforce of virtually 70,000. The largest single group where jobs would be added would be 280. That's to health services. That's for Medicaid, for mental health, and to meet requirements of the federal insurance overhaul. Transportation would also add on-staff engineers to try to reduce consultant costs. Veterans homes would add 150 medical staff. Most of them would be at the King home in Wapaka County. And the Revenue Department would add 61 tax collectors.
Well, so what do the legislators think about Governor Walker's budget plan? Fox 11's Alex Ronaldo is our other crew in Madison tonight. She's been talking to both Republicans and Democrats. And Alex, I'm sure it's a mixed review, but what are they telling you?
Well, that's right, Michelle. I had the chance to speak with several local lawmakers on both sides of the aisle, and as you can imagine, there's some disagreements over the contents of the proposal.
I feel very good about where we're going in terms of broad-based tax relief, and really looking for things that are going to help our future workforce and getting people jobs now.
He's put forward a lot of things that look like he's going to improve spending on certain areas, and then he's going to cut taxes. And I don't know how we're going to do that, because that's kind of what got us in the mess in the first place, and so why are we going back down that same road again?
But both Republicans and Democrats do agree that the real work lies ahead now that they go over the details.
Now it's time for the legislature to get to work and hopefully improve the document that he's presented to us. I think there's a lot of room for improvement, and so I look forward to getting to work on that.
I was actually looking at it in detail. Right now it's all in a 5-page document, but it's hundreds of pages, and we'll be delving through it and looking and see where we can actually improve it.
Now, even though the Republicans control both the state Senate and the Assembly, lawmakers tell me there is still plenty of room for debate, and there likely will be some. Michelle?
All right, Alex, we will continue to follow the story. That was Alex Rinaldo for us live from Madison tonight. Also, we have extended coverage of several of the governor's budget proposals on our website for you at fox11online.com. You'll find the details in the state budget section.
More snow's headed our way, and it has us already on storm watch. We are still more than 24 hours from the storm itself arriving here, but it is expected to create a mess. And Patrick joins us now. This storm will put us above average for an entire season. So what can we expect from this storm that's really packing a huge punch out in the plains?
It is, and this is really going to be a bad storm for parts of Colorado, Kansas, Nebraska, out into Missouri, parts of Oklahoma and Arkansas, really going to get hit hard. Currently, the storm is rotating out around Tucson, Arizona, where Tucson and Scottsdale saw snow today. That is going to pull out into the plains, very strong as it works into Kansas, and then it weakens as it moves up towards the Great Lakes. Everything you see in dark blue, those are all winter storm warnings for tonight, tomorrow, and to tomorrow night. And this is what we're expecting. A lot of ice for southern Illinois and southern Missouri, then a transition area of sleet, maybe as much as 15 or 18 inches over western Kansas and southern Nebraska. Amounts will weaken as you move up towards Wisconsin as the storm gets a little weaker as it moves towards us.
Well, it might not have snowed today, but city workers in Green Bay were still busy. They were cleaning up from yesterday's snowfall and making room for the storm that Patrick just told us about. Fox 11's Ben Krumholz has more.
By 3 o'clock Wednesday afternoon, plows and graders were resting in the city garage. Public Works supervisors say it's well-deserved after a busy day on Green Bay streets.
In between snowstorms, DPW isn't just sitting still. What we're doing is cleaning up from the last snowstorm and preparing for the potential next snowstorm.
Chris Pierlot says it usually takes 3 to 5 days to clean up the city following a snowstorm.
Throughout the winter, it varies greatly.
Even when there's a break between snowfalls, workers are still on the streets, clearing sidewalks, storm sewer inlets, and finding any missed spots.
Burning a lot of diesel fuel to help keep our roads in decent shape and doing our best.
We're getting to the point in winter when these downtown crowded streets have very little room to actually put any new snow, and it means city workers will have to come out and make room by bringing out special equipment for the first time this season.
Well, we like to do it when we do get the time, and it's starting to add up, and we just would like to get this with this up-and-coming snow that is coming.
Blowers like this one will be taken downtown to help transfer snow to the city's west side waste site.
Basically in the downtown area where you have roadway, curbs, sidewalk, building. There's really nowhere to store the snow anymore.
And even if snowstorms weren't frequent, like last winter, city workers are still busy maintaining equipment and facilities.
You know, you always have a job jar list that's never empty.
In Green Bay, Ben Krumholz, Fox 11 News.
The winter sports regular seasons are coming to an end, and it's playoff time. Drew Smith joins us now, and Drew, it's a busy time in high school sports, which means the return of game time.
In the next 4 weeks, we've got high school game time coming up on CW14. It's our sister station right after the 9 o'clock news. We're talking hoops, hockey, and wrestling. You know, a number of local grapplers going to be vying for state individual titles this weekend in Madison, including Ty Pilot of Two Rivers. Now, Pilot is 42-0. He's ranked #1 in Division II at 113 pounds entering the state tournament. He made the state tournament last year, winning his first match before dropping the next two to bow out without a medal. Now, Pilot is using the lessons that he learned at last year's event and in other big matches to bolster his bid for a state title this year. Well, as we mentioned, coming up tonight, game time starting at 10 o'clock over on our sister station, CW14. Make sure you join us there.
Still to come for us tonight, they say a photo is worth 1,000 words.
Next, how one area photographer is making a difference in the lives of children and their families affected by cancer. A story tonight about a photographer trying to make sure that her pictures create a lifetime of memories.
Particularly for those who receive her pictures. Fox 11's Angela Kelly shows us how a photographer from Hobart is making a difference for families affected by cancer.
It's a striking image, a 3-year-old girl battling cancer, but her eyes are as bright as ever.
Alexis was diagnosed in September 2008 with ALL, acute lymphoblastic leukemia.
Leukemia nearly took her life, but today, at 7 years old and a head full of hair, Alexis Lemke of Swamico is in remission.
She came through it so strong and so you never heard a complaint of pain.
The photos now serve as a reminder of Alexis's battle with cancer, but mostly of her courage. And that is the mission of photographer Tara Day and her nonprofit organization,
Good job.
Capture Courage.
That's good.
She offers free photo shoots to families who have children with cancer.
Every photograph I've ever taken of a child with cancer has been magical. There's something in their eyes and in their spirit that I could never put into words, but that you see in that photograph.
Day snapped the pictures of Alexis 4 years ago, and today,
show me your best smile.
She is in the midst of another photo shoot.
There you go.
At the Aloft Hotel in Green Bay. She calls it a survivor shoot. Alexis is here, and so are other children who have survived cancer, like 10-year-old Luke, 6-year-old Belle, and 17-year-old Jessica.
It takes a lot of courage to get through the leukemia and cancer and everything.
There you go. Take your little braid and put it forward so we can see how long your hair is now. Fantastic.
The children's families will get copies of these photos.
Awesome.
At no charge.
For the parents, it's a way for them to remember this huge moment in their life. You know, whether they've just been diagnosed or they're in remission, no matter where they're at, then the parents can have these photographs of that journey.
Day was inspired to start Capture Courage 5 years ago. She heard of a DePere family that was losing their 8-year-old daughter to neuroblastoma and offered her photography services as a way to help keep her memory alive.
And I went home and I started editing those photos and just cried and just knew at that moment that that's what I was supposed to do.
Day then contacted St. Vincent Hospital in Green Bay to let them know about her mission. So far, she's captured the courage of 30 kids who've been treated there.
I really just try to make it an experience for them. I try to have them come in and tell me their favorite things that they love. So we have, you know, sometimes we bring in horses, sometimes we bring in cool convertibles, sometimes we get a Green Bay Packer there, to really make it an experience for them outside of the hospital experience, outside of going into something they don't know that's needle pokes and blood draws. So they come in and sometimes they're a little leery, and then they realize, hey, this is going to be fun.
Bright balloons and a tutu made for a perfect shoot for Alexis. 4 years later, this photo and the many others Day has captured are making a difference.
Without her, I wouldn't have this to use to show people this is my child. This is what we went through. And you know what? This was a good day. This was a good day.
In Green Bay, Angela Kelly, Fox 11 News.
Wonderful work that she's doing. And Day, in fact, pays for some of the expenses of those photo shoots out of her own pocket. Some businesses and community members do donate private space for the shoot locations. To find out how you can make a difference for Capture Courage and the organization, go to our website, fox11online.com, click on News, and then scroll down to Making a Difference.